Hello again, this is Victoria Ali. I am a life navigator and self-help addict and author of Survivor 101 with everyonecounts.world. Thanks again for joining us on another video about money. Today, we're going to be reviewing the second cardinal rule that Gerald Mundis talks about in his book, How to Get Out of Debt, Stay Out of Debt, and Live Prosperously. And step number 2 is to record your income and your expenses. And this is something that I wasn't doing. I wasn't writing this down. In any case, in the Gerald Mundis book, he does outline this spending plan, which is really helpful to keeping track. Notice how he's got each week, he records what he spent in each of these weeks in each category. So rent might be paid in the first week, groceries you might pay over a period of time. And then what he's got is he's got a column on his actual. So his actual spending, that's his entire month. And then what he has is his spending plan that he's developed after a lot of recording. And then he has a plus and minus section to show, oh, I was over or under what I planned to spend. So let's take a quick look at a spending record that I put together over the years on a spreadsheet, which is computer-based. And this particular spreadsheet is in Google Sheets. However, I equally use Microsoft Excel, so they're both interchangeable for me, depending on who I'm working with. Just like the example I just showed you in Gerald Mundis's book, we have 8 different columns that we track as we're recording our finances. And the first one is the categories. These are the expenses that I might have in an average month. So for instance, under home, instead of just having rent or mortgage, I actually have an entire home section because I've done this for so many years. And the more clarity that I get, the more abundance that I feel because I can change things or be aware of things. And decisions make themselves when I know what I'm actually spending. So valuable. Home category might be rent or mortgage. And then I have insurance that I pay, utilities, and different supplies, improvements, things I do to repair the home. These are the different things that I list in my categories, including, auto, food, entertainment, and so on. Next, I have 4 different columns, which is where I do really the bulk of the work. Once I've designed my categories, then I come through and I record the different categories. So let's just say that I have rent for $1,500. That's where I would record that because I pay my rent on the 1st. That's why I put the $1,500 under week 1. Now let's just go down and look at supplies. Supposing that I have to purchase some paint because I want to repaint a room in my house. Okay, so that goes into week 2 because that's when I paid week 2. Perhaps in week 3, I have to do some other types of updates. Maybe I buy a hose for my backyard. Okay, so let's go over to this 6th column here, actual monthly. And in this spreadsheet, I've set it up in such a way that as long as I just fill out all of the expenses by week, they'll add themselves up for the end of the month. So now I know I spent $70 this month in supplies for the house. I spent $1,500 in rent. Look for a link in the comments if you'd like to have a copy of this 1 month's spending record to practice with yourself. It's especially helpful if you think you're going to start doing a record keeping for 30 days so you can get a sense of what you actually are spending every month. All right, these next 2 columns, monthly spending plan and the plus and minus, are 2 columns that we'll go over more in the next video, which is on the spending record and the ideal vision plan. In a nutshell, what it means is that if you plan to spend $1,000 on rent this month, but you actually spent $1,500, that means you went over what you plan to spend by $500. Alternately, if you plan to spend $2,000 and you actually only end up spending $1,500, now you're under your plan. So you've got money that you can use in other categories. But for now, let's not worry about the monthly spending plan. There's one more difference that I have from the Mundis book
besides just these detailed categories. And that is, I've added 2 extra major categories at the top of the spreadsheet. The first one is called beginning balance. This is where you combine whatever money you use for the month into one account, such as if you have a checking account or if you pay for things in cash, you figure out, well, on the 30th or 31st of the month before, or by the 1st, before you spend any money, how much money are you starting out the month with? Maybe you have $400 in checking, $100 in cash. So you've got a total of $500 that you can spend in this month that's left over from last month. That's really good information for me because that way I know that I have that money available to spend. The second category I added to my spending record was an income category. Although this does include salary and wages, for instance, if on the 2nd of the month, I earn $2,100, and then again on the 3rd week, I make another $2,100, now I can keep track of what my income is for the month. So for right now, if this is all I had to spend in this month, I would basically have $4,200 in income, $500 to start with. So I've basically got $4,700. There are other types of income or other types of money that I can have available to me. Let's say that I have a garage sale and sell my old couch for $100. There we have it, $100. And then my mom might have given me a gift for my birthday of $50. So now instead of the $4,200 that I had from income, I have an additional $150, which adds up to $4,350 that I can spend for the month, in addition to the $500. So right now, if we go down to the very bottom of the spreadsheets with all the expenses, what we're finding is because we paid for rent and some supplies for the home, we have spent $1,570. So with all of our beginning balance and income, subtracting our expenses, we end up with $3,280 that can be spent for all the other categories, such as pets and hobbies and food and entertainment. This spending record is key to the Back to the Back program. And if you'd like to get a free copy of this spending plan spreadsheet, feel free to go up to everyonecounts.world and sign in, and you'll get a free digital spending plan that you can use either in Google Docs or in Excel. So be on the lookout for that. And you can get to everyonecounts.world down below in the link. The spending record is what we do because it's very hard to develop a spending plan without knowing what you're already spending and what your income is as well. So over the years, my friends and I have worked with a spending plan and a spending record. What you want to do, according to the Mundus book anyway, is for the next month, commit to recording all the money that you bring in, all your income in any form whatsoever. If somebody gives you a gift, if you are earning commission, if you have a salary, whatever it is, just put it down and record how much income you got in each week. And then the second thing is write down your expenses for the month. And remember, this first month, don't judge yourself at all. Just record down your expenses. For instance, my rent I paid on the 5th. Okay, here's what it was. And then I went to the grocery store 3 times in week 1. Well, that was $100 plus 50 plus 25. So that was $175 for that first week. And that's the kind of thing you do. Oh, I paid utilities on this date. Here's how much it was. So just record down, and you don't even have to use a spreadsheet or anything. Just record it on a piece of paper. Here's what I spent, preferably by week, but if not, just write down a whole list. These are the different times I went to the grocery store. Now, one of the things that I find really useful, you can do this or not, is I take out the stuff that is not groceries. Like if it's not food, like if it's cleaners and that kind of thing, sometimes I put that down as a separate entry, and that's not easy to do. So don't worry about it this first month. Just write down whatever you can think of. Oh, I spent this much on my internet service. I spent this much on cable. I spent this much going out to eat. You can separate it out. That's your job if you choose to accept it. Your mission this month is to start with your first 30 days. Start wherever you're at right now.
no matter what day it is. Don't wait for the first of the month. Just start today. Record your income, record your expenses. Now, over 30 days, all of your expenses and income, you'll get it settled in there. Now, when you're done with 30 days, continue to record. Keep it going. That way, eventually, after the second month or so, you can start switching to, okay, I'm doing a monthly record of all my expenses and my income. But for the first 30 days, just start today. Don't worry. Write it down. If you spend cash, write it on a little piece of paper that you keep in your pocket, your wallet, your purse. Put it on your calendar, digital calendar. Put it on a note. Wherever you put it, just keep track of it. Don't forget about the cash for this first 30 days, especially. And I know a lot of us use Cash App and everything. So just keep track and make sure every time you spend money, try to get a receipt. That's a good way to make sure that you are recording everything. Okay, so that was step number 2, was record all of your income and expenses for the next 30 days. If you like this video, I really appreciate you giving it a like, but more importantly, subscribe. Right now, we're trying to get more subscribers to the channel, because if we get 50 subscribers, then we can do live videos and we could be possibly going over individual people's spending plans that we get to come on the program. And the other thing I'd really love is to hear what's on your mind. You know, money, we're definitely going to be talking about money this week. It'll be coming up throughout the year. And that's definitely one of the pivotal pieces of the puzzle, since money is a symbol of, you know, what's happening in our lives. It's one of the cornerstones. It's what we use to transact, most of us, instead of just the barter system. And what I'd love, though, is for you to consider getting the book Survival 101, which basically has information on not just physical needs that you might get met through money, such as rent and clothing and that kind of thing, but also it talks about our emotional, mental needs. And we'll be talking about that a lot more too. So if you want to talk about things that relate to your sense of security in the world, whether it's anxiety, panic attacks, financial insecurity, emotional insecurity, emotions in general getting out of control. The other thing is this concept of validation. You know, where are we getting our sense of validation, our self-esteem? And the other thing being love. You know, we talk about love, loving ourselves, having relationships with people in our lives, significant others, romantic types of love. You know, these are all the things related to survival. And the whole point is together we thrive, and we'll get from surviving to thriving together. Thanks for taking the time today. I'm excited to get together more and see where this takes us.